Hi, welcome to my channel, Life with Annalise. Today I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to whitewash your terracotta pots. There are many containers out there in the market. You have terracotta pots, there are wooden planter boxes, you also have ceramic containers, and there are store-bought plants that come in plastic containers. My preference have always been terracotta pots, so I'm going to get into that. The benefits of terracotta pots is that it's porous, so it's conducive for succulents and cactus plants that prefer soil to be on the drier side. It is made of baked clay, which is an earth medium that allows water and air to pass through the walls. Most plants suffer from root rot when it sits in water for long periods of time. So when you're shopping for pots, you want to make sure that your pots have drainage holes. I've also seen people pick up pots that don't have drainage holes and they will drill the holes in themselves. That also works. Alright, so now we're going to get into the fun part, whitewashing your terracotta pot. This is what you want to achieve towards the end of the video. It has a very vintage look to it, and look at my moonstones. It looks perfect in this pot. Alright, so the material that you're going to need when you whitewash, you're going to need to wear an apron because it's not going to be fun if you find paint all over your clothes. I have white chalk paint, but you can always opt for whatever paint that you already have in your house. It can be a flat white paint that is water-based. I'll also create a distressed look on my pot, and the way you achieve that is to use chalky finished black paint. You can also use flat black paint and mix it with white. I'll get into that in a little bit. All you need are old brushes, but they do have the specialized chalk decorative brush. And I'll also use this so I can mix my paint together. A rag to wipe and some sanding blocks. Then you will also need to make sure that you have a clean pot. So I'll usually take my rag and wipe all over it. We're going to paint the outside of the pot as well as the top and some of the inside top of the pot. I'm going to leave the inside of the pot clear of paint just because it may be toxic for plants. I'm going to start prepping my paint right now. So what I'll do is grab the black paint, just get a little bit at a time. You can always add on when you're mixing your paint to get the right shade of gray. Mix a little bit of white in here. Okay, so there is a shade of gray paint. I think this is what I like here. So you want to start off with dry brushing. That's what you'll be doing. You're not going to paint with heavily wet brushes. I'm going to dip white paint here and just start lightly brushing your terracotta pot. This is a very fail-proof process because the design of whitewashing is just random strokes, but you do want to lightly paint the chalk paint onto the pot. You can always go over it. What you don't want to do is have solid areas. You want to be able to see some of the terracotta. You can see I went a little bit too heavy on my first stroke, but that's okay because I'm going to spread it out and I'm also going to sand at the end. Don't be afraid when you're painting your terracotta pots or anything else for that matter, because whitewashing, it's just a mix of color. There's no right or wrong way of whitewashing. When you're dipping your brush into your pan, you want to dip just a little bit every time. Don't dig your brush all the way into the can of paint. You can see that when you're dry brushing, it gives this very faded paint look. See, I kind of went heavy on this side. So most of the solid spots on my pot, I'm gonna go in and make sure I sand those areas down. Make sure when you're painting, you're applying light and long strokes. Don't forget the inside rims of your pot. It's also okay to have some spotty areas. Alright, so I'm going to start painting the bottom. I'm just going to go and do this circular motion. You do have the option to just leave the pot the way it is now and sand it over, or if you want more of a distressed look, you can always go over it with the gray paint that I mixed earlier. I'm going to do that so then you guys see how to create a distressed antique look. I've also seen some people, once they're done, they would stamp their pots with all these stencils. Alright, so here's how it looks on the inside. I'm going to just leave it like this because normally when I pot my plants, I'll probably have the soil come up to 3/4 of the way. The inside rim of the pot is what's going to be visible. I'm going to leave the inside of the pot in its original state. Alright, so that was pretty quick. Now I am going to get a smaller brush. I'm going to dip it into the gray mixture that I created earlier. And again, you don't want to grab too much. I'm going to lean it on the side just because it's easier for me to see. And, I'm going to apply same method as I did with the white paint. It's just going to be a mix. And don't worry about these spotty areas because you're going to blend it out later on when you get to the sanding. This is called intentional distress marks. And if you're feeling like you went a little bit too heavy on the gray, you can always go back over it with white, which I think I'm going to do because I went a little bit heavy on some areas here. See, like this area, it's a little bit heavy on the rim, so I'm going to go back with my white paint and kind of just lighten it up. Make this something fun for you to do, not, it's not about perfection. It's about having fun. And, I think I'm good. Here. Just So you guys can see it's all completed. Oh, I forgot the inside. I need to. I'm going to take my sanding block now. This is pretty old sanding block. If I need to, I'll use my new one. And you know, you're just going to sand down your paint. What this does is it's going to smear your paint, giving it a more softer look. And in the end, I'm going to show you the pots that I did. There are two versions, the one that has this mixed gray distressed look, and I also have pots that are just whitewashed without the distressed gray color mixed in it. So then you can decide which design you want to go with. I like to have a mix of both design. So, you know, I'll randomly choose pots to paint in the white-only whitewash or the white and gray. But that's about it. What do you guys think?